If you take the 1984 movie Footloose and strip out the hit pop track Never by Moving Pictures, replacing it with realistic audio, the result is completely absurd. Kevin Bacon is simply panting, grunting, and squeaking his sneakers across an empty warehouse. Removing the score from a gritty 1970s character drama usually makes the scene feel a little quiet. Removing the music from a 1980s movie effectively destroys the plot. Before this decade, fashion, film, and pop music operated as largely separate industries. The 1980s smashed them together, forging an interconnected loop where each medium actively fed the others. This loop established the template for how we still use a specific look paired with a specific sound to signal who we are to the rest of the world. The engine of this machine was the synthesizer. It escaped the boundaries of experimental electronic music and became the dominant heartbeat of 1980s cinema. Composers like Vangelis proved that electronic film scores could dominate pop culture on their own. His sweeping, synth-heavy theme for Chariots of Fire became one of the rare instrumental soundtracks to hit #1 on the Billboard charts without a single lyric. This massive success pushed music from the background of a scene directly to the forefront of the cinematic narrative. Entire cinematic genres emerged to service this shift, driving the creation of theatrical dance battles in movies like Breakin' and Beat Street. The physical intensity and massive scale of the crowds watching these dancers perform on their heads captured a genuine, surging cultural movement. In the 1980s, the soundtrack operated as the primary narrative engine. The music drove the story forward entirely on its own. Directors like John Hughes weaponized these driving pop soundtracks, using them to grant cinematic weight and deep seriousness to raw teenage emotion. High school social hierarchies were clearly codified on screen. The high school rebel, the wealthy prep, the star jock, and the outcast all received their own distinct uniforms, attitudes, and musical cues. Interacting directly with the hit music within the narrative itself, like hoisting a boombox on a street corner or outside a bedroom window, became the ultimate cinematic act of emotional expression. By treating high school detention and awkward romances with the dramatic scale of a Hollywood epic, these movies validated the angst of an entire generation. This collision of film and music immediately spilled onto the streets. Hit movies like Flashdance normalized off-the-shoulder sweatshirts and leggings, elevating practical gym clothes into highly popular daily fashion. B-boy culture, meanwhile, created a very similar, powerful trickle-up effect. Driven by hip-hop soundtracks and breakdancing cinema, the tracksuit and sneakers were firmly established as the uniform of urban cool. Even corporate adult fashion absorbed this loud, unapologetic energy. Power dressing dominated the workplace, characterized by wildly exaggerated silhouettes and massive shoulder pads. The trend reached the absolute peak of high society. Royal figures like Princess Diana readily adopted the era's aggressively bold aesthetic, using it to signal her modernity and relevance to the public. Every outfit functioned as a loud, highly visible broadcast, declaring exactly which music you listened to and which cinematic tribe you aligned with. While previous generations might follow a musical trend or a fashion movement in isolation, the 1980s integrated them into a single cohesive experience. Identifying as a goth or a punk now required an interconnected commitment to specific music, specific films, and a highly specific look, a total ecosystem of identity that was impossible to ignore. This explains why modern audiences are drawn to properties like Stranger Things. They crave that total world building, where the sound, the clothes, and the characters all reinforce one another. The 1980s proved that personal identity is an active performance, and that life simply feels more significant when it is paired with a deliberate aesthetic and a highly curated soundtrack.